XL Energy presents Hockey Night in Minnesota. Been a long time since we've seen a divisional rival, but tonight the Calgary Flames skate into St. Paul to face off against the playoff-bound Minnesota Wild. Hi again, everybody. Alongside my partner, Mike Greenlay, I'm Mike Goldberg. Final week of the regular season, and the game plan is simple, Mike. The game plan is what? And America here tonight, and two former teammates will face off against each other. Wells Fargo starting goaltenders. The man known as Noodles, Jamie McLennan, just his third start in 17 games.
Well, he's played the quintessential backup role, but he's not fared very well in the wins department. I'm sure he wants to try and finish the season strong. On the other end of the ice, as you said, Mike, used to be as a goaltending partner. With a win tonight, could match his career high in wins with 19. His last game was a 1-0 loss to St. Louis, but he played like he should have won.
Our referees for tonight, Stephen Auger, Bob Langdon, Ryan Galloway, and Thor Nelson will call the lines. Now, right off the top of the show, we should mention tonight, Pascal Dupuis and Wes Walz are both healthy scratches, and Jacques Lemaire told us this morning, at this point, rest is more important than wins and losses. On that same note, though, Mike, he wants his team to play the system and play it to the best of their ability.
Well, they're going to have to now that they're missing some very good defensive forwards in Dupuis and especially Walz.
So Darby Hendrickson is in the lineup tonight, and he will take the normal assignment that Wes Walz plays. And a big opportunity for Darby this evening. Jason Marshall had the goal the other night. He's in the lineup again as well. Brad Brown returns. Blake Sloan back in the Calgary lineup. Didn't play the other day in the loss to Columbus. Fifth and final meeting of the Calgary Flames and the Minnesota Wild. First Northwest Division battle since the All-Star break. And a little piece of the plexiglass on the ice, and that gives us a chance to check out your Polaris keys.
Well, we've talked about the matchup, and actually the Flames have fared pretty well against the Wild. They own the season record to this point. Wild could even it up this evening. And of course, we talked about Duane Sutter. He's had a good effect on these Flames, and we talked about it with Chicago. Duane Sutter is treating this like a bit of a mini training camp, seeing what guys, or Daryl Sutter, excuse me, seeing which guys are going to play better in what situation. He's implementing his system right now into this team so that when they come into training camp next season, these guys will already know what's going on.
There's too many Sutters around.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Dwaynes, the Daryls. I'm surprised I throw Brian out there.
That's absolutely. Well, we saw him the other day.
Yeah, I know.
Against the Blackhawks, and you know, this game for a long time just kind of lingered away, Mike, with nothing happening, but Sergei Zholtok took it upon himself to turn it into an exciting finish.
Well, he got everybody involved, too. You had Marshall with his first goal of the season. Of course, Ronnie chipped in very well there, and then the big overtime shot, second of the year, overtime winner for Richard Park. So
Zholtok, a goal and 2 assists. He set up the tying goal with 37 seconds remaining in regulation, and Minnesota won 1 minute and 14 seconds into the extra period. 8th overtime win of the season. The best record in overtime in the National Hockey League. Jerome McGinley. Susan across the Marshall. Big drive, and McLennan makes the glove save. Martin Jelena gives it over to the near side wing, and Iginla. Iginla, Craig Conroy, and Martin Jelena make up the top line here tonight for Calgary. And this is where you'll see Darby Hendrickson with Antti Laaksonen, and Jason Marshall's playing forward with both Dupuis and Walz healthy scratches to just get some rest, as we mentioned before.
Key thing you said at the top, Mike, was that they have to play the system. If they do that, you can almost insert anybody into those spots, and it'll work.
Oleg Saprikin keeps the puck inside the zone. Conroy trying to work it to the side. Saprikin finally was called up, and he's been up the entire season. Jerome McGinley behind the net, 20 goals in his last 23 games played. Iginla playing like he did at the beginning and end of last season. Hendrickson in the neutral ice area. Closed down, Susan gets it, tried to feed it ahead to Park and just missed. Jordan Leopold able to make that interception. Leopold was in the minors a lot in January, but since Daryl Sutter has come in and given him a chance, he's given him lots of chances. And Leopold starting to take advantage here in his rookie season. Over to the near side, and Sean Donovan. Donovan acquired from Pittsburgh at the trade deadline. And it's gloved and held on to by Manny Fernandez.
Well, Mike, you mentioned that Saprikin has been up for a while, and he's played a lot better. He's played better positionally. And he's used to run around a lot. Now he's starting to stick into his system. And one guy that you'll see talk to him quite a bit is Chris Drury. And Drury has been a good influence on Saprikin.
Blair Betts wins the faceoff, but the loose puck is picked up by Cliff Ronning. And Ronning will dump it in. Mike Commodore playing his third game in a Calgary uniform, 3 years at North Dakota. For Mike Commodore, he was in the Devils system, traded also at the deadline. And now he is here in Calgary. Didn't play any games with New Jersey this regular season. Former teammate, though, in the minors and at the NHL level with Willie Mitchell. Scott Nickel pushed out of the zone by Blair Betts. Betts, the 23-year-old native of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, playing in his 6th game of the year. So you start to mention some of these guys just called up, Mike, and I get the point that you were making that Daryl Sutter said he's going to see what's in the cupboard. Oh, my. Brown just shoves Steve Beijing, or pardon me, Blake Sloan out of the way. Sekarash back to get it. As we talked about top of the show in the tees, been some physical matchups the 4 games played this year between these two teams. Lidman touches and the icing is called. Don't forget, fans, $100 deposit reserves your spot in the Minnesota Wild Warming House. A waiting list for Wild season tickets. Warming House members will be given the opportunity to purchase Wild playoff tickets before the public on sale. Call 651-222-WILD and press option number 3. Representatives are standing by to take your call.
Well, Mike, a lot of players have told me that the best way to get into a hockey game is to get physical early, and Brad Brown has done exactly that. A good hit there on Blake Sloan.
Gets you and your teammates into the hockey game, doesn't it?
Gets the blood pumping, gets the adrenaline going.
Here's Iginla. Iginla was lined up at the point there just for the faceoff, though, Mike, which was won by Conroy, but his shot was blocked. The veteran Bob Bugner into traffic. Iginla tried to get a stick on it, and Manny Fernandez shut it down.
Well, Bugner, he's seen the playoffs with Buffalo and Pittsburgh, but not with Nashville, and he won't see it with Calgary, at least not this year. But you'll see Bugner just zip one at the net. He had no real angle, had no real chance of scoring from there necessarily, but get it on net.
Iginla. A good March for this Calgary team, although they will miss the playoffs for the 7th straight year. Dumped in by Jason Marshall. Darby Hendrickson trying to work through Bugner. Marshall couldn't come through to it. And Lidman leaves it for Conroy. He advances to Martin Jelena. 20 goals again this year for Jelena. 5th time in his career he's reached the 20-goal plateau. Willie Mitchell drives it in on Noodles. And McLennan will hold on.
Well, Jamie McLennan, you know, he gives you a lot of attitude. The only thing is it's all good attitude.
No question.
He's, if you want a guy to back you up, he's certainly going to be the guy that's there. Spends a lot of his time in the summer here in the Twin Cities area. He's from Edmonton, plays for Calgary. That's got to tell you about how he is right there. There's Roman Turek.
Yeah, Big wasn't so large the other day. Turek, 5 goals against, 25 shots against Columbus. That's why McLennan gets the start. Same story with Turek, been just average, and at $4 million a year, he's got to be better than average. And, you know, that's one of the very frustrating parts for Calgary this year. Obviously, they started out horrendously, Mike, but that's your money guy, and that's the guy you spent more money on than ever before in franchise history.
Well, the thing is he was fantastic for St. Louis during the regular season, faltered in the playoffs. This year, maybe a little bit of the reverse. They won't even get a chance to see what he can do in the playoffs.
Well, remember when they were so good early last year, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of helped him get the deal.
Well, he's played a lot this year. They really are trying to get him to the point where he is winning games for them.
But tonight, Jamie McLennan against his old teammates. Lubomir Sekarash chases it down, overskated a bit with Oleg Saprikin in his face. Jimmy Dowd. Dowd will work it ahead. Dowd on a line with Brunette and Park. Park now zooms off, and on comes Philippe Kuba. Dowd is off. Matt Johnson on the ice. Sekarash. And given over to the near side, Steve Montador. Montador scored the other day against Columbus. A 6-4 Columbus win on Saturday against the Flames. It was his first goal in 51 games. Jordan Leopold. At the point, Zuzin keeps it in. Betts is on Johnson. Ronning. McLennan sticks it behind. Joltok tries to pick it up. Zuzin in front. Now it's time for Brown. Brown couldn't get the shot away. Leopold slid that way to try to block it. Chris Clark back deep to get it inside his own zone. And Clark will dump it out to center. Played in the neutral ice by Ronning. And he sends it in. Montador. Blair Betts back to get it. Betts pushed it out to center. Mitchell bumps it ahead to Jeremy Stevenson. Stevenson wants to leave it off for Gabrick. Montador read that one neatly. Down the length of the ice. And the icing is called. Scoreless so far here in St. Paul.
You're a naughty little boy, aren't you? Keep it up, and I'm gonna give you a spanking. I'll teach you the meaning of respect. You're not getting any of my Bud Light. Do you hear me? No kisses for you. Not till you learn to obey me. Now, get down on all fours.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Calgary Flames' second worst record in the Western Conference, 70 points, 27 wins. But they've lost just 4 times in their last 14 games played, including that March that I said was pretty good, Mike. They were 8-3-2-0 in the month of March. Daryl Sutter told me this morning they're just trying to improve every day and still could use some firepower, but then we kind of chuckled to each other and said who couldn't use more firepower. But he's trying to find out what guys are all about and start fresh next year. Sutter still hasn't moved his family from San Jose as he's got older children still finishing school. So even though he's gone home, he's not quite settled into a home in Calgary. But many hope he'll be there a long time.
Although he is from around the area, so you can call it somewhat of a home for him.
Brunette towards Schultz. He couldn't get the shot away. And the veteran Dave Lowry, who was actually sent to the minors this year, is in the lineup. Schultz back in retreation to get it. And Schultz will wait. Full line change by the Calgary Flames. And Schultz dumps it up and ahead. Leopold's on the ice. McLennan leaves it for Jordan Leopold. He avoids the body check of Jason Marshall. Philippe Kuba. That one's long. Should be an icing. Montador touches. And Jordan Leopold coming home. What a difficult month of January it was for Jordan. He was sent down to the minors. Then Daryl Sutter came in and said, you know what, I'm going to go with the older guys now. But since he's come back up, Mike, he's played well, and he's averaged 20 minutes a night.
Yeah, he's logging a lot of time, but you know the only thing that Leopold's missing is experience. He has the talent. They've seen it. But now they want him to get some experience, and this is a perfect time of the year to do it. They don't have any playoff pressure to worry about. Get the kid in there and let him work it out.
55th game of the year for the Hobey Baker Award winner Jordan Leopold from Golden Valley. And some of his old teammates headed back to the Frozen Four. Congratulations to the Gophers. Can they go back-to-back with national championships? Jordan Leopold certainly hopes so. And can another Minnesotan, Mike, capture Hobey Baker's award this year?
Well, last year's winner, a lot of hopefuls this year, Mike, and Final Four coming up in weeks 2. Ben Eves, as you can see, he's from Faribault. So is Zach Parisi from Faribault. Tom Preissing from Rosemont, Minnesota. A lot of hopefuls there, Mike. Another goaltender in the mix, too. Maybe the second goaltender ever to win it.
Rob Stauber, the first and only. Back to get it, Robin Ray Gear. Johnson trying to center to Zoltar. Susan. Ryan Miller as well. Almost forgot the Michigan State standout. Will be the third goaltender to capture, Stauber being the first. Ronning comes across the line. And there's an offside called. Cliff Ronning. There's the guy who adds the leadership, the 105 games in the playoffs. And it'll be interesting to see or try to hear if he has anything special to say when this team gears up for game 1 about 10 days from now.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot about how he composes himself, how he treats the games, how he plays, because it's certainly, can't always stand up and say something and instill into the guys. It's maybe sometimes the way you play.
Stevenson, and it's gloved by Jamie McLennan. Face off to the left side of Jamie McLennan. Just 2 wins on the year for McLennan, who actually backed up Roman Turek in St. Louis before Grant Fuhr came to town. So he's familiar with Roman Turek. Stefan Yell with the shot, and Manny Fernandez will make the save. He went 30 games without a goal, did Stefan Yell.
Well, he's trying to get her going. These guys playing for pride right now, and that's what they always say, but it becomes a truth here. You want to finish the season on a strong note. You want to be able to motivate yourself over the summer for the next year.
Well, in this day and age, Mike, would you also agree you're playing for a job?
Well, yeah, to some degree, yes. I mean, some of these guys, like Stefan Yell, I mean, they have enough of a good reputation that, you can chalk up maybe a bad season or a bad few months or whatnot. But, yeah, a lot of these guys are playing for jobs. A lot of competition out there now.
The captain, Craig Conroy, to Martin Jelena, top line on the ice for Calgary. Sent down low to Jerome Iginla. And Iginla will wait and hold from the far side. Iginla stops and tries to move around Darby Hendrickson. He bodies him. Zuzan can't clear it out. Iginla to Conroy, trying to feed it back to Jerome Iginla. Here's Jason Marshall. Marshall gives it over to Willie Mitchell. He'll dump it in on net. Bugner trying to bounce it right back out. Mitchell and Iginla tangle near side boards. Iginla wins the battle. Hendrickson back to bounce it over to Philippe Kuba. Played nearly 10 minutes here in a scoreless first period. 3 shots each way. 5th and final meeting between the Flames and the Wild. Flames 2 wins, 1 tie, 1 overtime loss to the Wild this year. So they've earned a point in all of the 4 matchups thus far. Minnesota cannot finish 500 against divisional opponents this year. They're 6-8-4-1 coming into tonight, which is way better though than the 4-11-1-4 last year in the Northwest, Mike.
The thing is, they started the year very solid against divisional opponents, and that helped them pace themselves here.
With a couple of wins against Edmonton and a win against Calgary and Vancouver, but then Colorado started to own them a bit. Vancouver won a few straight, and then Calgary, it's really played as well as any of the division teams against Minnesota this season, because they've beaten at least the others once or twice. Beat Edmonton twice, beat Vancouver twice, beat Colorado twice.
What does that say about our philosophy that you have to win your divisional games?
Well, it says if you can go 14-5-1 against the Eastern Conference, you can falter a bit in the division. Ronning, trying to get it out of the zone. Johnson to Zoltar. He'll come across the line. Zoltar feeds it off to Ronning, the drive, and McLennan was squarely in front of it. Trying to set up Cliff Ronning for a second straight night. Richard Park and the Wild scoreless here in the first period. We're talking Hobies, Mike. There's actually 3 former Hobie Baker Award winners presently employed by the Calgary Flames. Mike Motto of Boston College. He is now a member of the Flames, acquired at the deadline. Chris Drury, of course, won it in '98 from BU, and Leopold winning the award 1 season ago. That's a nice little trio of Hobie Baker Award winners. That Korea guy's still playing in the league too, isn't he?
Yeah, so is Kip Miller.
Yep.
So is Morrison.
Scott Pellerin.
Yeah.
Tony Herkus.
There's a few of them out there.
Is Neil Broughton still playing?
I'm sure some people wish he was.
How about Tommy Kurvers?
Ditto.
Yep. Brown stays tightly on Dave Lowry. To the point, and Leopold tried to wrist it ahead. Gabrick was right there. Leopold stays with it. Calgary retreated from the zone, and there's no offside. The lead pass to Stevenson, who sends it to the glove side of Jamie McLennan. 8:15 remains here in the first period of play. Mike Goldberg, Mike Greenlay, our Wild crew here on Fox 9. Iginla comes across the line, leaves for Commodore, and it was deflected just wide by Martin Jelena. Played by Jerome Iginla, the back pass to Mike Commodore. Bounced off the boards and into the zone by Robin Regier. Regier has the most shots in the NHL this season for a man who has yet to score a goal. Regier going since last year's final meeting between these two teams in April without a puck in the back of the net. Regier 76 games without a goal. Might even go one piece sooner or later. Regier with a big lumber working. He's defensively paired with Commodore. That pass missed Gabrick. And it's moved ahead by Saprikin. Donovan the back pass. Saprikin trying to stay with it. Bounced to the ground by Jimmy Dowd. And the puck is picked up by Andrew Brunette. Brunette will bring it into the zone. Leaves it for Dowd. He overskates, and Drury will take it over. Drury one-handed pass to Donovan. Donovan flips it to the side of Manny Fernandez. Drury not wearing 37. He's back to number 18. He wore both 37 and 18 at different times in Colorado. When Dean McCammon came back to town, although he was declared ineligible for the rest of the season, McCammon, I guess he might have been a financial arrangement, you never know, said, hey, Chris, I'll buy my number back. And Drury was happy to go back to 18. So if you're looking for the former Hobie Baker Award winner, the U.S. Olympian, he's wearing number 18 tonight. Bugner has it and works. Dumped in by Bob Bugner. Gathered up by Willie Mitchell. Mitchell, Saprikin, and Blair Betts both showing a pretty aggressive style on the forecheck here. Here's Zoltak bringing it into the zone. Leopold closes quickly. Delayed penalty's going to be called. And we're going to have our first power play of the night. Matt Johnson and the veteran Craig Berube are going to continue to push a bit.
Well, Berube has 12 fighting majors this year already. Johnson gets in there. It's going to be rough. These two teams don't like each other, Mike.
You know what I found interesting? And I knew that Berube had a ton of penalty minutes in his career, Mike, but until today, I didn't realize no one has had more fighting majors in his career than Craig Berube.
Well, you know what? He's prominently featured in many good fight videos. So whenever you watch one of those, you'll always catch a Berube in his Philadelphia Flyer jersey or Berube pummeling someone. Pretty good to stick in there now. I mean, a lot of young, strong fighters in the league now.
He's a veteran, I'll tell you. He's a war horse, Craig Berube. Now, there was a penalty call prior to Berube.
I think it was a slash.
Yep, Berube and Johnson kind of tangling, so the advantage should still go to the Minnesota Wild. Chris Clark is in the box as well as Craig Berube, and Matt Johnson in the box for Minnesota. So this will result in the first power play of the night for the Wild.
The Wild have the best record in the National Hockey League when they do score a power play goal.
29 of the 40 wins this year, Mike, have been games in which Minnesota has tallied with the man advantage. They beat the Hawks in overtime the other night, going 0 for 2 on the power play, but scoring with the extra attacker and the empty net. Not a power play goal, but an extra attacker on the ice nonetheless. Jason Marshall, Blake Sloan on the forecheck. It's Kuba Ronning, Park, Brunette, and Marshall. Blake Sloan, a nice job done. Stefan Yell, one of the finest penalty killers in the NHL. Here's Ronning with time. Calgary makes the line change. Brunette able to get it into the zone, left it there for Ronning. He drives it wide of the net. Ray Gear will wrist it on down the ice. 102 shots without a goal for Robin Ray Gear, most for any player in the National Hockey League. Stevenson dumps it in. Ronning keeps it at the blue line. Leopold out to kill this penalty with his teammates. There's Chris Drury. Drury and Donovan off. Ray Gear and Leopold stay on. Cliff Ronning has it on the near side. Wild haven't even been able to conquer the zone yet. 45 seconds left in the man advantage situation. Zuzan gives it a ride around the boards. Played at the blue line by Cliff Ronning. Zoltak bumps it over to Pierre-Marc Bouchard. To the point to Ronning. Ronning fakes the shot. Iginla was on him. Iginla has 3 shorthanded goals. Here's Bouchard to Ronning. Ronning to Zoltak. Zoltak waiting. Zoltak looking. Leopold stretched to the ice, able to push it away. Bouchard. Pierre-Marc Bouchard to Cliff Ronning. Ronning back to the rookie. Bouchard will wait. Bouchard tangles it down to Zoltak. He wants Susan. In front instead, Stevenson couldn't get the shot away. Final seconds, not a shot yet on the power play. Susan, big drive into traffic. Rebound Stevenson off the back of Leopold's skates. Conroy broke his stick. Teams are even, but Conroy's without a stick. Stevenson jumping in. Iginla trying to clear it out. Bouchard has it. Chris Clark comes aside, and Leopold finally able to gain possession and push it to the neutral ice area.
Calgary's forced very well all year on the penalty kill.
Not a single shot of power play that time.
Well, this is the kind of battle you want to see in front of the net, especially with Jeremy Stevenson. He's planted himself there all year long, especially when they put him on the power play, and he's been very effective.
Scoreless first period thus far, Jeremy Stevenson. All settled here in the Twin Cities now. Chris Clark, Blair Betts just called up from the Baby Flames, as they call him in St. John. And the veteran Dave Lowry. Lowry went from the captain to a player who started the year in the minors. It was the first time Mikey was in the minors since 1989. Was recalled, though, on January 15th. He's been a regular in the lineup since. He was a regular for Darryl Sutter for a few years in San Jose, and I think Sutter knew he needed Lowry's leadership. Lowry's got a great presence.
He's 38 years old, and he looks like he's probably in better shape than half the young guys. I mean, that's how he still plays, basically. Well, there's another guy who plays tough, especially in front of the net we were just talking about. And you know what, Mike? You know, we talk a lot about goaltending in the playoffs. We talk about your big scorers, but I always found that it's guys like this that people don't always notice right away that make differences in a lot of games, especially in the playoffs, because they can turn the tide. They're the guys that are back checking to help the goaltender. They're the guys creating room so the goal scorer can score.
You know, it's interesting in talking to Jimmy Dowd before the game, he kind of elaborated on the point that you're making, that this team has to play hard every night to win games. They have to win close games. They have to eke it out for everything. That would seem to make one think it makes this team playoff ready. Part the shot. And a nice glove save by Jamie McLennan. They've already played that style, not just this year, but for 3 years.
Well, the thing is that what happens to some teams is they have to kick it up a notch to go into the playoffs, and they can't. Well, the Minnesota Wild may not have to necessarily, because they're already playing, like you said, the style that is required in the playoffs. Now, granted, you will need your big guys to come up with some big games. You'll need some guys that you don't suspect will have great playoff series to have a great playoff series.
Well, you want to keep the balance that we've seen with the Wild here recently. 18 different goal scorers in the last 18 games, including Richard Park, who won the game in overtime the other night. That was his first goal in 13. Conroy gets it over to Ginla, bouncing pucker. That could have been a dangerous situation. Shot, what a save made by Manny Fernandez. Martin Jelna came in and whacked one right near the Minnesota net. Fernandez had to be heads up. Watch out, Ginla. Oh, my goodness. Ginla was on Fernandez. Fernandez retreated just in time as Jerome Ginla was trying to feast off that open net. Fernandez got back right in the nick of time. Just over 2 minutes remains in this scoreless first period. Flipped ahead by Cliff Broad in common order, the 23-year-old Albertan. Trying to chase it down. Coming from the Devils in the deal that sent Rob Niedermeyer, the ineffective Rob Niedermeyer, to the New Jersey Devils. Leopold will send it up and into the zone.
Well, Manny Fernandez has been asked to come up with a couple pretty tough saves here in the latter parts of the first period, and he's answered the call. Ginla bobbles this one, but somehow gets it to the front of the net. Look at this deflection. Fernandez followed it all the way. You could see him, and then he gets caught out of his net. Gets a little help from Kuba, but Fernandez does get back, and that was Ginla trying to wrap that one in. As we said, the hottest goal scorer right now in the National Hockey League, Jerome Ginla.
Dowd will face off against Stefan Yell. And played by Lidman. Lidman trying to stay with it. Given back over to Brunette. Brunette tied up by Lidman. Under 90 seconds remains in the period. Brown steps ahead on Lowry. He's still able to bump it out of the zone. And a penalty is going to be called behind the play.
Well, Gaborik had lost his helmet. And now he picks it back up. I don't know who the tripping call was against. It's going to be against, actually, the guy who did lose his helmet, Marian Gaborik. Well, he's fighting, he's battling in the corner. He gets checked, and I think right after the play moves out of the zone, I think he might have taken someone's feet out. There it is as he reaches and takes out Yell's feet, the guy who knocked his lid off.
Played behind and held on to and moved out of the zone. Fourth-ranked penalty-killing unit owned by the Minnesota Wild. Power play has been a struggle for Calgary this season. Zuzan. And cleared out by Darby Hendrickson. So Hendrickson comes out this first pairing, Mike, as we mentioned, with Walls and Dupuis getting the healthy scratch. And the icing is called.
Well, like I said, what you lose when you scratch guys like Dupuis and Walls, you lose a lot of speed, you lose defensive play, and you lose the transition game. So that's where everyone else has to step it up.
Our Bud Light What's on Tap will visit with Jason Marshall, who had the big goal the other night. His first of the season, our March plays of the month, and so much more. Our Bud Light What's on Tap. 32 seconds remains here in the first period. First power play of the night for Calgary. Across the line, Jordan Leopold. Blair Betts, shot from the point by Saprikin. And a stick save by Manny Fernandez. Wild are able to clear. McLennan moves it ahead to Leopold. Little bit of power play time will eke into the second. Schultz drives into Betts, and the horn will sound. 40 seconds remains on the minor against Gabrick to begin things in the second. Not a lot of big scoring chances either way, Mike, but it seemed like it had a pretty good pace.
Once again, the Wild play well when they play in tight games, and this one certainly be characterized that way. Get by that, try and get his paybacks in when he can, but play the game the way he knows how.
Dennis Gauthier has a concussion, so he's not playing tonight. Either is Andrew Ferentz, who was acquired from Pittsburgh. Dean McCammond ineligible. Peter Buzik has been out the majority of the season with a post-concussion syndrome. Craig Berube is in tonight, as is Blake Sloan. But Steve Beijin's been a bit knocked around, and he is out of the lineup this evening. Power play to begin things here in the second. 10 more seconds on the call against the aforementioned Marion Gabrick. Robin Ray Gear, Steve Conroy can't play it on the boards. And locks it and threads it out of the zone. That'll do it for the Calgary power play. Their first of the night. 2 shots, both of those came in the first period. Jordan Leopold back to get it. Jamie McLennan flips it on to the tape. Up Leopold, he gives it over to his defensive partner, Robin Ray Gear. Philippe Kuba. Kuba back to get it. Yell in front of him. Yell lost an edge. Sekarash. Blake Sloan with some speed is on him. Sloan always plays that physical presence. Gabrick in the neutral ice area. Gabrick cross ice to Jimmy Dowd. Dowd across the line. Dowd, Brunette, and Gabrick here together. Jim Dowd will have time. Bugner quickly closes in. Brunette picks up the loose puck. Feeds it down to Marion Gabrick. Gabrick in tight quarters. Lowry staying with him. Gabrick looking in front, and McLennan got the paddle of the stick down.
Well, this is what Marion Gabrick's going to have to do. Take the chances when they're there. You're not going to get a lot of wide open chances, but I like the way he likes to wrap around the net here. Look at him just use his body, shield the puck, and then quick wrap around. McLennan was ready for him. A lot of times that will create rebounds, though. What you need is someone crashing the net as well for a hopeful rebound there. McLennan was able to trap that one well.
So Marion Gabrick, who started this year so brilliantly, has been slowed in the goal department, but not so much in the point and production department. Richard Park. Park bouncing in was Bouchard. He couldn't get a hold of it. Mitchell sends it back to Pierre-Marc Bouchard. 2 Flames behind the net, but 2 Wild players as well. One of them is Jeremy Stevenson. Montador and Drury are trying to take it out. Bouchard comes away with it. Pierre-Marc Bouchard near the blue line, and a dangerous play there. Saprikin forced the turnover. Leopold has it and advances out. Off the stick of Saprikin, so no icing call. Flames got to it first anyhow. That pass from Saprikin too high for Drury, who was actually open in front. So Sean Donovan, a nice job on the forecheck.
It's amazing what a misplay at the blue line will do. It created an offensive opportunity there.
Saprikin wheels it in high. Chris Clark. That's intercepted by Ronning. Let's see if the Wild can do the same thing, Mike, although it seems as if the Flames recovered quite neatly that time. Ray Gear back deep, gives it to the veteran Berube. Berube to Blair Betts. He's got Chris Clark on the right side. Clark in front of the net. Pass save made by Manny Fernandez. Schultz, Johnson, and dealt by Craig Berube. Berube and Johnson are both on the ice surface here. They've pushed, but not yet thrown here tonight. Bounced out of the zone. Mike Commodore's on. He's paired with Robin Ray Gear. Commodore actually property of the Ducks this season. It did not play in the NHL in Anaheim. He was involved in the Peter Sikora deal that happened in the offseason. Well, the last time he was in the NHL was with New Jersey, as he's playing a few games here in the NHL with Calgary now. In the minors with the Ducks, here's Hendrickson, backhand, and McLennan denies. Our Treasure Island Resort and Casino trivia question for tonight. 3 different NHL teams in scoring, the leader 3 consecutive seasons. Danfus, Gilmore, Nichols, or Shanahan. Log on at wild.com. That's a good question.
Looks like Hendrickson's fitting into this role nicely. Picks up a nice speed from Marshall. He just fans on it right at the end. Was a little angry with himself about that, but still getting the opportunities half the battle.
Leopold actually trying to lift the stick up. 2 Gophers going at it. Here's Lidman behind. Face-off win for Calgary. They were dominant in the face-off circles in the first period, winning 71% of the face-offs taken in the first 20 minutes. Winning 15 of the 21 total. Wild pile things up at their own blue line and take the puck away from the top line of the Calgary Flames. 16 face-off wins, only 7 losses in the game for Calgary tonight. Dowd is out there with Gabrick and Brunette against the top line, Mike, of Conroy, Jelena, and Iginla. So maybe Jacques Lemaire's looking to see if other guys can feature prominently in a backup defensive role to Walls and Laaksonen. Offside's going to be called against Commodore and the Calgary Flames.
Well, if there's one thing you can accuse or talk about Jacques Lemaire is that he'll always try and see who can do what. He'll be trying to get guys into different situations. There, Manny Fernandez bowled over, and then Kuba coming in his defense. This is, well, he got cut off. I think he was going to try and cut in between the goaltender and the net. Kuba cut him off. He didn't go the other way. Went right over him. No penalty there, though.
Commodore sends it in. Another face-off win for Calgary. Lowry quickly in on Brown. Finishes his check. Digging it through the feet of Sloan was Nick Schultz. And a penalty is going to be called. So we didn't have the penalty a moment ago. But initial indication is we're going to have a little holding the stick called here. And it's going to go against Blake Sloan.
Well, Blake Sloan, a very aggressive defensive forward, played a bit in Dallas, played for Hitchcock, said to me this morning that playing for Daryl Sutter is a bit of a treat compared to playing for Hitchcock. And I said, really? I said, I'm a little surprised at that, but he said, you know, depending on their coaching style, and there's the holding right there. That's the defensive style. They're a little too defensive, but he said that, you know, Daryl Sutter's been very fair so far, so he's happy with the coaching training.
Not a single shot. First time they had the power play for Minnesota. This is their second opportunity. With the man advantage, holding the stick to call against Blake Sloan. He knows a little bit about expansion. He also played a bit with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Next opponent for the Minnesota Wild. That game right here on Channel 9. Wednesday night from Nationwide Arena. Then Thursday from the Air Canada Center in Toronto. The Maple Leafs and the Wild. Ronning, stick handling, and an offside is called. Good defensive posture at the blue line that time by the Flames.
Well, that's one thing Sutter will do. He'll have them playing his system. Actually, his assistant's Playfair said you have to disregard your opponent when you're trying to establish an identity. It doesn't matter if it's Dallas, Columbus, Nashville, or in this case, Minnesota. What's important is recognizing what you have to do to be successful. So Daryl Sutter has them playing a certain way, and he wants them to continue playing that way no matter who they're playing.
You know, that's no different than what Jacques Lemaire always talks about. And that's why this week Jacques Lemaire said, yeah, he wants to rest some guys, but he wants his team to get back to the A game. Wants them to be at their best when they are set to start the postseason next week. Kuba towards the net, deflected just wide by Brunette. Cliff Ronning over to Marion Gabrick. Down low to Jimmy Dowd. Power play time here for Dowd, Gabrick, and Brunette. Dowd to the point and Cliff Ronning. Kuba's on the other side. There it is. Kuba has it. Philippe Kuba to Ronning. Ronning shot just wide. Oh, in front. Brunette trying to tap it off the backside of McLennan. Gabrick gets it right back from Kuba. Threads it down low, Brunette. Gabrick, one to the give and go. And McLennan will hold on.
Well, you saw him go right to Gabrick, and that's what they usually do. Gabrick draws a lot of attention out there. Gabrick will bust in here, and he'll look for this pass. Watch the feed there. but you can see the defenseman turn to take him. They know that it's going to be coming back to him, and they want to give McLennan the shot. Right there, almost a goal by Brunette, trying to, as you say, Mike, bank it off the goaltender.
Joltok wins the faceoff just to the side of Jamie McLennan. 20 seconds left in the man advantage, second power play of the night for Minnesota. We're scoreless here in the second period on Fox 9. Joltok to Bouchard. Back to Sergei Joltok. Joltok to Sekarash. He can't handle it. Here comes Iginla. Jerome Iginla has Craig Conroy. He got it over towards Conroy, but Susan retreated nicely. Sekarash got a piece of the stick of Jerome Iginla. No shots again. Second straight power play for Minnesota. Lubomir Sekarash and Andre Susan paired together here. Blair Betts will jump on the loose puck. Gets it over to Chris Clark. On the cycle is Berube. Commodore, he's got good size, comes in from the blue line. It's flipped up and out. Commodore 6'4", 225, the former Fighting Sioux standout. Joltok ahead to Jason Marshall. Commodore uses the long reach. Locks it in. Tightly on Betts, but Berube able to gain the access to the zone nonetheless. Clark caught the puck in the face a little bit, it seemed. Hesitated for a moment. Now Zuzin will take it. Andre Zuzin. Sekarash neatly up to Loxton and out of the zone. If you joined us late, Walls and Dupuis healthy scratches tonight to gain some rest. That's what Jacques Lemaire said this morning. Give Darby a chance. Wins and losses not as important right now, although you would think it would be proceeding, but the way 1, 2, and 3 are jockeying, 6, 7, 8 are jockeying, Mike, there's no guarantee if you finish a certain seed, you're going to face a certain team nonetheless.
No way you can pick your opponent right now.
No.
You can't. If you finish 8th, you could still get your matchup. You never know.
You just want to finish playing well.
Yep.
That's what Shock talked about this morning. Was not pleased with the effort for most of the game against Chicago the other night. Manny Fernandez again being pestered. It's a couple of times Manny's got caught out of the net trying to play the puck. No damage done as of yet. That's damage. Gabrick's going to the box for the second time in the game. Tripping against Oleg Saprikin. And so Minnesota will try to kill off the second power play of the night for Calgary. School night, but no matter. It's a Monday night at the hockey rink with mom and dad, and that's a good thing. Jelena will take this face-off. No, he won't. Craig Conroy will take this face-off against Darby Hendrickson. Darby being able to win draws is something that'll keep him in the lineup consistently, Mike. It's the little things when it comes to the postseason. Hendrickson has been scratched the 2 prior games to tonight. He's in with a good chance to show some more things to the coaches. You know, it's amazing. You're at almost game 80, Mike, and you're still proving yourself every day in this league, aren't you?
That's a good thing. That's one of the things that's kept this team sharp all season long. They've been relatively healthy.
Given to Lidman. Now it's Iginla. Jelena. And Iginla. Craig Conroy. Bob Bugner. Tony Lidman. Lidman waits. Oh my, Lidman a shot. A lane open right away for Lidman, and he took it. And there was a bit of traffic in front of Manny Fernandez. Iginla. Park's gonna gather back and defend the defenseman. Not challenge Iginla on the puck. Iginla trying to step towards the net. Lost it. Schultz able to get it aside. Jelena's right on him. Iginla's their big scorer on the power play. That's probably not a surprise, especially here as of late. He has 11 power play goals. The next closest is Martin Jelena with just 6. Chris Drury with 5 power play goals on the season for the Calgary Flames hockey team. Couple of 3-2 wins in the last couple of meetings between these two teams. Advantage Calgary. The last meeting was right after the first of the year between these two teams, Mike. They met 4 times by the first week in January and are finally meeting for the 5th and final time here this evening.
Well, the only win the Wild have against the Flames was that first overtime win of the season, you recall.
Saprikin holds it now. Oleg Saprikin. Saprikin waiting with 15 seconds left. Fires into traffic. Puck was still free. And Loxton able to gain it aside. Monty Loxton and backs it out and sends it down, and that should do it. Second minor against Gabrick. Have accounted for both of the Flames power plays. They fired 1 puck at Manny Fernandez with that man advantage. Schultz. Ray Gear keeps it in, but just for a moment. Nope, he was able to keep it in twice. Schultz bumped by Lowry. Lowry's playing the body. As you mentioned, he's a big old soldier, Dave Lowry. He was on that 96 team in Florida that advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals in only their 3rd year of existence and in their first playoff trip. So was one of the assistant coaches of the Calgary Flames, Brian Skrudland. In fact, Skrudland was a big part of that team in '96. We talked about Mellanby the other night, Mike. Minnesota gets the 3rd team since 67-68 to have over 40 wins in their 3rd season of existence. Look at Jimmy Down and Bobby Bugner going at it.
In a time when music was changing attitudes, one band changed the world. Now, the Mac is back. June 19th at Excel Energy Center. Fleetwood Mac, live. Your tickets are on sale right now. Center Box Office Ticketmaster by phone or online at Ticketmaster.com. June 19th, Fleetwood Mac is back.
Well, too many men on the ice here, Mike. Guys jumping over. Stop right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 behind there. And then Loxonen actually tried to get off real quick, but he jumped into the photographer's bench.
Well, it's a bench nonetheless.
The wrong one.
Yep. So a minor against the Minnesota Wild in back-to-back power plays for the Calgary Flames. And those are the kind of mental things that you don't want to have occur in the postseason. Those are the little things that Jacques Lemaire's been talking about, which are unacceptable when you advance into the postseason. You don't want to give a team a free power play, as it will.
And the thing is the way Jacques Lemaire switches his lines up a lot, that's where you have to be extra specially conscious of it, because, you know, you might be on one line one shift and another the next shift.
Mitchell wheels it up and around. Richard Park tries to work it. So far, so good on this penalty kill as Jimmy Dowd gets it out of the zone. Stevenson is serving the penalty for too many men on the ice. Jerome Iginla. Iginla to the trailer. Bugner shot deflected in front. In the pads of Fernandez with Jelena all over it. And Fernandez will freeze the puck.
Calgary's been doing a half-decent job of crashing the net. They get the puck to the net. Look at this shot coming in from Leopold. 2 guys all alone until the defensemen finally get there as they turn to take their men. Look at Jelena, and on the back door, Conroy, as they both bang away at it. Jelena with the best opportunity there.
Darby Hendrickson's going to be tossed. Loxonen's actually been pretty darn good on the faceoffs, Mike. This one, though, controlled by Calgary. Martin Jelena, Craig Conroy. Conroy towards Iginla, deflected aside by Kuba. Played now by Tony Lidman. And Lidman wants it in front. Lidman behind the net. Conroy takes it. Craig Conroy, the captain, to the point, and Jerome Iginla snaps a wrist. Saved by Fernandez. And he will smother the rebound.
US Link, it's for you.
US Link, offering local, long distance, and internet service.
US Link, it's for you.
Well, sometimes you don't feel the puck, and I don't think Fernandez totally felt that one. That's why he looked behind him.
29 seconds remains in this 3rd power play for the Flames. There's Iginla! And he just missed Conroy on the far side post. Iginla, Conroy, Jelena. Bugner and Tony Lidman. Here's Martin Jelena. Jelena spinning. Jelena leaves it off. Conroy looking. Lidman. Good blocker save by Fernandez. Lidman jumped in, but Fernandez read that one all the way.
That's a tough save to make because you have to pick up the shooter at the last second when you turn your head.
Willie Mitchell trying to deflect it out and actually hit the stick of Park. And they're going to whistle something down. We're going to have a penalty actually called. Or is it going to be use of the high stick? Nope, we got a hooking call on the ice surface. And it's going to go against the captain, Craig Conroy, so that will give Minnesota a power play.
Although they haven't had an opportunity. There it is. Top part of your screen. And a little bit of a hook there as the Wild try and get it out of the zone, but What a great save on the back door. Watching Fernandez turn his head. He's looking, he's following the puck, then he has to turn the head and pick up the shooter and cover the angle all at once. And Lidman couldn't get it by him. Conroy goes to the box.
You know what? It looked like Lidman shot that puck where he wanted it too, Mike. He would have found that corner.
That was inside the post, that shot.
Yep, it was a good shot. Daryl Sutter, head coach, beginning of the year in San Jose, the end of the year in Calgary. A couple of guys jumping to different teams this year. Bob Hartley, Colorado, and now in Atlanta. Plays an important game with the Rangers as they try to make it in the East. Ronning stepping in himself. Ronning in front to Zoltok. Zoltok to Zuzin. Zuzin to Zoltok. Zoltok shot blocked by Stefan Yell. Kept in by Zoltok? No. They're going to say Zoltok knocked it back down with a high stick and bring the faceoff out of the zone.
Not a lot of shots on the power play in this game for the Wild so far. Zoltok tries to bat it in. I don't know if that was a high stick. He's waving it off, and then it was called on the offside. That's curious. The linesman was waving off the offside, but it was called on the high stick. So it was brought all the way down.
No shots on the first two power plays so far. Ronning looked like he had gained access to the zone nicely. And then Zoltok and company couldn't get anything on the net. Here's Ronning. Ronning has it inside the blue line. Ronning just skating it through the traffic. Leopold on the penalty kill. Brunette digging with Jordan Leopold. Jason Marshall. Marshall in front. Zoltok swings it to the side and Zuzin. Zuzin to Sergei Zoltok. Zoltok reaching out was Donovan. Hit from behind was Marshall by Blake Sloan. Kept in at the blue line. Brunette behind the net now. Andrew Brunette feeds it to Zuzin. Shot into traffic at the backside of Marshall. Leopold's very active down low with Jason Marshall. Ronning has it. Ronning Zoltok. Zoltok shot. Deflected in front. Ronning trying to hop on the loose puck. Another penalty coming up. This is against Calgary. 46 seconds of a 5-on-3. Cross-checking will go against the Flames. You know, they were throwing a lot of lumber around, weren't they?
Somebody's going to have bruised ribs or bruised back, maybe even a bruised spine. Regier was just pounding away on the back of Marshall. So was Leopold. Watch the front of the net. Look at the cross-checking. Look at the hitting. And right there, that's the call that is actually made. But before that, there were a ton of hits going on. Look at this bouncing puck that almost finds its way into a fortuitous situation. But still a lot of too much physical play by the defenders in front of the net there, and so it's going to be Regier that goes off for the cross check. Oh, there's Marshall, takes one hit. Watch this hit right here. Wham, right in the back. And then right after that, he'll get back in front, and it'll be Brunette that gets upended as he gets chopped by Leopold. I tell you, you have to have a lot of intestinal fortitude to stand in front of that net.
Now the Minnesota Wild utilizing their timeout in this situation. Daryl Sutter talking about what he is going to do defensively on this 5-on-3. Matt Johnson and Jeremy Stevenson this Saturday from 2 to 3 at the XL Energy Center. As the Hockey Lodge and Blue Line Sports invite you to stop by for an opportunity to meet those great Wild players. Matt and Jeremy will be shaking hands and signing autographs from 2 to 3 at the Hockey Lodge, courtesy of the Hockey Lodge and Blue Line Sports.
Maybe they'll show you how to play in front of the net too.
I'll tell you what,
if you ask them nicely.
Well, they'll show you the bruises from the cross checks in the back. Capacity crowd here at the XL Energy Center. 5-on-3. It's Marian Gabrick. Zoltok, Ronning spins. Yell is up front. Zoltok has it near the top of the circle. Leaves it off to Cliff Ronning. They'll switch to their forehand sides. Gabrick the shot. He couldn't get any of it. Behind the net. Stefan Yell gets it, can't clear. Ronning kept it in at the blue line. Ronning over to Marian Gabrick. 20 seconds left on the two-man advantage. Deflected puck. Stevenson and McLennan denies. Brunette has it now. Leaves it for Marian Gabrick. Right on him is Stefan Yell. Gabrick, Yell staying with him. Ronning time, Ronning shot, score! Power play goal, Minnesota. Cliff Ronning beats Jamie McLennan, and it's 1-0 Wild. There's that magical power play goal.
It's the traffic in front. Stevenson almost scored on it the first time, but it's Ronning who gets the screen in front, and that's why he's able to power this one too. Look at that screen. McLennan can't see it. He finds it at the last second, and it goes right over his glove. I don't know. Gabrick looked pretty close to that one, but I think it's going to be going to Ronning.
Good reaction on the Wild bench. They like it. It came right after the first penalty had expired, though, Mike. So that'll do it for the power play, but that's okay. Minnesota got done what they needed to get done. And that was to have the opportunity to score with the man advantage.
Well, on the power play, you want to draw someone to you, use that extra guy that you have out there. That's what they did. This time, Ronning was the extra guy. They had some support in front of the net as well.
Ginla trying to come right back for Calgary, and Fernandez will take no chances. Cliff Ronning, his 16th goal of the year. It's a power play goal, and Minnesota leads.
Well, Ronning will get the puck, but watch everybody leave the front of the net except the Wild players. Stop it right here. Look at this. You got to like that. A lot of guys in case there's a rebound, but of course there wasn't. So Leopold out there playing a lot of time. Look at Ronning. Jacking up the points in these last 17, 18 games, and he's starting to add some more goals to his repertoire here. That's what we talked about in terms of experience, in terms of leadership. That's what you need down the stretch. That's what you need in the postseason.
Now Ronning gets credit for the power play goal. Gabrick and Brunette the assist, 15:02 the time of the goal. So Minnesota trying to keep this power play magic going. Best record in the NHL when they have scored a power play goal. Andrew Brunette leading the team in power play production. That's his 23rd point this year, Mike. With the man advantage for Minnesota, Leopold touches, and the icing is called. And here we're going to have a fight after the stoppage. It's young Steve Montador and Jason Marshall. Montador had a good one with Kyle Wanvig earlier this year. He's trying to answer up quickly on Marshall, and he's hammered away with the left. Marshall wisely brought him down. Montador's a tough kid, man. Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know if he was connecting, Mike, but he certainly was throwing some hammers.
He was giving it everything he had, as you mentioned, with Wanvig earlier this year. Actually got the better of him. But here with Marshall, I don't know if you're going to call that a draw or not, but a lot of guys on Calgary said that Montador is the kind of guy that'll do anything to stay here, anything to play here. So he'll drop him if he has to. He'll play tough if he has to. And right here, they get after it.
Yeah, that's Daryl Sutter kind of hockey. He doesn't mind seeing that.
Oh, doesn't mind it at all.
Well, to be happy to oblige. A lot of guys can drop him on this team. Matt Johnson being the truest of the heavyweights. Craig Berube, same set, other side. Lindman keeps it in. So both are done for the period. 5-minute majors for fighting at 16:04 of the period. Drury, Bugner, Lindman, Saprikin, and newly acquired Sean Donovan. Donovan, former Duck, played with the Penguins and was acquired at the deadline. For Mickey DuPont, Matthias Johansson. Here's Bouchard. Leaves it in, and Oleg Saprikin will chase it down. Saprikin, talented sniper. Still trying to become worthy of that top pick a few years ago. Things are starting to get a little chippy here. Well, high stick is called, and Bugner might be cut, Mike.
Well, Park tried to lift his stick, and it went right up into the face of Bugner, and doesn't look like he's bleeding, so it could be just 2 here. Park trying to use his speed and leverage on that one as he just got a little too high on the stick. Right there. Bugner had lifted his stick already. He was going after the puck. And so Richard Park, who doesn't play dirty by any means, gets the 2 minutes for high stick.
So Park is in, and the Flames have their 4th power play opportunity. 7 shots on the 3 power plays so far tonight. Darby Hendrickson is out there. Iginla has the puck. Jerome Iginla, as we mentioned, he's been hot as of late. He had 16 power play goals last year in his 52-goal season. 92 KQRS, Minnesota's classic rock is wild about Dwayne Rollison. Tune in to KQ's Wally Walker tomorrow morning between 10 and noon if you correctly identify Dwayne Rollison as tonight's Wild About winner. you'll win 2 tickets to the Wild Columbus game on April 6th, courtesy of Minnesota's classic rock station, KQ92. At the regular season finale, 1 o'clock start on Sunday here at the XL Energy Center. Then the playoffs for Minnesota will begin on the road either Wednesday or Thursday night, dependent on who they play. First game at home could be as early as next Sunday, so make your plans accordingly. We won't know till the last day of the season, though. Probably a few hours after that, Mike, because as you mentioned, the jockeying for position is going to take place till next Sunday, April 6th. Gabrick has it. Gabrick, quick snap of the wrist. McLennan read it and makes the stick save.
Well, it's good he didn't cheat on that one because Gabrick looked like he was going to pass, pulled it back, and zipped one at him.
Now, firsthand, Jamie McLennan knows how well Marion Gabrick can shoot the puck. He was here in year 1. Jamie McLennan, part of the first ever team in Minnesota Wild history. Zuzin trying to bounce it up and out. Picked up by Antti Laaksonen. And Laaksonen overskated the blue line, left the puck behind, and that'll be the offside.
Well, you hate to put yourself offside. That's
Doesn't matter what player advances. If you advance yourself, it's still an offside, isn't it?
Well, if you have control of the puck, you can drag it in, but he didn't. Look at this zip shot here. McLennan stayed with them, and as you said, Mike, McLennan has a scouting report on Gabrick, having played with him for a season.
Tony Lidman also going to be called on the play. Lidman's in the penalty box. See if we can take a peek. Did he actually chomp somebody?
Well, I think right there, a little hold-up that is not allowed. That would have been a possible 2-on-1.
So Lidman is called for interference. 1:42 remains in the period. We're even for the next 22 seconds, and then Minnesota will have the power play opportunity. It will be their 5th power play of the night. They've scored a power play goal, and that was Cliff Bronning. Here's Marion Gabrick, 4-on-4. Gabrick quickly hit by Zuzin in the direction of Jimmy Dowd. Marion Gabrick, Jordan Leopold staying with him. You can just tell from this game that Leopold has really worked hard on his defensive posture. We know he has offensive skills. He displayed them so prominently in a Gophers uniform. But playing defense at the NHL level is a different thing, and you can see Leopold is really advanced here in his rookie season.
I think any guy that comes in the league will tell you that that is what he needs to work on, whether he's a forward or a defenseman. It's the defensive side of the game that he needs to get better at.
Bouchard, center ice pass off the foot of Drury and dumped in by Zoltar. Minnesota's on the power play now. Kuba, big drive, deflected just wide by Brunette. Fed back towards the point. Kuba kept it in. Bouchard, Sekerash, shot, pad save, rebound, score! Pierre-Marc Bouchard, a power play goal for Minnesota, and it's 2-0 Wild. He just barely slid it under the glove of the outreach Jamie McLennan.
Well, I think he was trying to go upstairs and actually fanned on it, Mike. He gets the rebound, and watch him. It'll come off the pad, and watch this. I think he's trying to lift it, and he fans on it, and he fans it into the net. But you know how they say, it's not how, it's how many, and right here. Actually, McLennan helped it in.
7th goal of the year for young Pierre-Marc Bouchard. 19:26 the time of the goal. And so Minnesota has scored 2 power play goals, and Calgary's certainly frustrated. Robin Ray-Gear taking multiple swings at a Wild player tied up near the bench area. Can't tell who that Wild player is still from this angle.
Johnson.
If it's Johnson, watch out.
Well, like I said, these games are frustrating sometimes because, is it Mitchell? It's got a number 2 on it. I don't know if there's a 1 or just a. But everyone's. But the thing is these games can be frustrating because Wild have a lot to lose. They don't want to lose any guys to suspension or injury, and you can get injured like that. Don't kid yourself. Calgary, of course, they know when their season ends. So it was Mitchell, not Johnson. But Mitchell gets it going with Conroy, and then everyone jumps in. Regier comes at you too. Watch the 3D action here.
He was getting face washed by multiple Flames players. And Willie Mitchell tangling with Robin Ray-Gear.
for each Wild power play goal scored this season. Remax is making it.
Sekarash and Kuba will get the assists on the power play goal by Pierre-Marc Bouchard. They're going to sort out the equipment here. You know, there were disciplinary actions thrown in for those multiple touchdowns in the St. Louis-Detroit game the other day, Mike.
They went to the.
Oh my gosh!
They went to the coaches
again and again and again. Joey Koster was yelling. Here's again Len Brown, John here. But one of the best scenes in that game was the veteran Steve Yzerman sorting out the gloves and the helmets. You know, when you're not involved in the fight, you're involved in the cleanup. Doesn't matter who you are, how many goals you've scored. $100 deposit reserves your spot in the Minnesota Wild Warming House. A waiting list for Wild season tickets. Warming House members will be given the opportunity to purchase Wild playoff tickets before the public on sale. Call 651-222-WILD and press option number 3. Wild representatives presently standing by to take your call. Be part of this great action. Minnesota Wild hockey. Oh. 28.8 remaining here in the period.
Well, giving ourselves a little break here, but 2-0 to score with just a little bit left, and we keep bringing up this stat, Mike, and we keep loving this stat. It's the after 2 mark for the Minnesota Wild when they lead.
Now, it's been a long time since Minnesota has scored 2 power play goals. 7 times this year total with 2 power play goals. The last time a game they actually lost was February 19th against the Rangers. They won the time prior, going all the way back to November, Mike, by a score of 5-2, but 2 power play goals should, especially when it comes here late in the second period, should give Minnesota a great chance to jump past Anaheim in the standings again, this being the game in hand tonight.
Well, here's the goal, the first one. Power play goal, everyone goes to Ronning blasts it, and this one kept in nicely back to the point, up and down, a fan on the shot, he tried to go upstairs, but he doesn't care how it goes in. You want everybody scoring in the playoffs, even your youngsters.
5 of the 7 goals he has scored here in this pretty impressive rookie season for 18-year-old Pierre-Marc Bouchard have been on the power play. And that's one of the facets of the game you want to be dangerous. I mean, those are the little things that separate the pretenders from the true contenders when it comes to the postseason, and expect to see Bouchard getting lots of time here in this playoff run. He's been pretty much a regular since the World Junior Championship.
Well, what I love about this lineup is the fact that they do have a great complement of youth. They have a complement of some age and experience. Some guys that have actually been in the playoffs. They have great goaltenders. It's a very good chemistry experiment they got going here.
Final seconds of the period.
Following penalties have been assessed. On Calgary, number 22, Craig Conroy. 2 minutes for instigating. It should be 2 minutes for roughing.
Here's Ronning down to Zoltok.
2 minutes instigating, 5 minutes fighting.
Gabrick, Ronning, waiting, Ronning down low. Kuba Stevenson. Back to Kuba, time expired as Minnesota ends that period on the power play. After all those penalties were called, the extra 2 basically given to Robin Ray Gear. And justifiably so. They're trying to rattle Marian Gabrick here.
Well, they're also trying to draw other people like Stevenson right now into a fight, and they do. Bugner wanted to draw him into a fight, and now he's got him. And I don't know if he wants to have him.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're both pretty tough kids. Yeah. Bob Bugner, one of the tougher, and Stevenson hog ties him and brings him down.
Well, Stevenson's about 220, 225, pretty solid kid. So good to see him answer the bell there.
Now, the Wild's not going to back down, but as you said, they just don't want any quirky injuries to result from this. And this is a Calgary team clearly frustrated by the way their season has gone.
Well, Gabrick has faced this all year long from the Flames and from other teams for that matter. And so he gives it to him a little bit, so he can expect that a little bit.
You know what I like? You see what he said there? Look at the scoreboard. Yeah. That's what it's all about. That's the game of hockey. That's where it really matters. You can slash me, you can poke me as much as you want, wave at me with no teeth, it doesn't matter. Minnesota leads 2-0 after 2 periods as Marian Gabrick was happy to tell the Flames. Both of the goals coming on the power.
Max, you're killing me. Hey, everybody jamming. Hey, man. She jamming? They jamming too. Can a brother get a Bud Light, man?
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
3-4. 1, 2, 3. Mitchell, Stevenson. They're in the penalty box, as well as Jason Marshall, Conroy, Ray Gear, and others in the penalty box for Calgary. Best record in the league when leading after 40 minutes.
Well, it's nothing compared to the Blues Wings box the other night, because they actually have some guys left on the bench, but it's getting there.
Now, it'll be interesting to see how Calgary brings it out here. Steve Montador having a discussion with one of the referees. I don't know, maybe he's looking to see if he can serve the penalty somewhere else where it's more roomy. Daryl Sutter, man, he's intense.
He's intense, and he's never missed the playoffs in his playing or head coaching career, but obviously this year, that's a foregone conclusion.
First time in 30 years that Daryl Sutter will not advance to the postseason.
And that man certainly is advanced.
Yes, indeed. Well, the Sutter six in all have 6 Stanley Cups and 5,000 NHL games played. Daryl, the oldest. Brian, of course, in Chicago. We saw him the other night. And Brent, Dwayne, Rich, and Ron, the twins. Rich with the Wild. Ron's here tonight. 6 Stanley Cups, 5,000 games played within their family. It's pretty darn impressive. 30 months in between Brian getting fired in Calgary, Mike, and Daryl getting hired in Calgary. Almost like, yeah, the new coach is my other brother, Daryl. Here's Kuba through neutral ice, and he'll send it in. The result of all of those penalties in the very busy penalty boxes is that Minnesota continues with the power play here to begin things in this third period. Marion Gaborik. Shot knocked down. Minnesota has not scored 3 power play goals in one game this season. Last time was against Phoenix on January 23rd of 2001 that the Wild scored 3 power play goals. They won that game 5-2, and Marion Gaborik was very involved in the offense that night.
Well, they almost had it right there as you were speaking, Mike, on the back door. A deflection by Leopold. Deflects it up into the stands instead of into his own net.
Face off, Zoltok wins it, gets it back to Kuba. And he gave it to Park, and right in front of Park was Drury, who forces it out of the zone for Calgary. It's sent into the Calgary zone, just underway here in the third period. And the puck will be cleared again by the Flames. Manny Fernandez out to get it. Turned over neutral ice, Martin Jelena trying to skate through a sea of white and green. Slapped at it once, twice, against his former line mate, Cliff Ronning. Those two were together as line mates in '94 when Vancouver advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals. Jelena went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year with Carolina, also was a Stanley Cup champion. Shot and McLennan will glove it.
Well, McLennan has not seen a lot of victories this year, Mike. You always hope that a guy like him will notch up a few more because he's been such a great guy. But he only has 2, and they came in a back-to-back situation earlier on in November and has not been able to notch one no matter what situation he's been thrown into.
November 4th to November 5th. He's 0-9-3 since, Mike, and that's when he played all those consecutive games when Roman Turek missed the 10 games with a finger injury. And he really wasn't too bad. He was really somewhat solid.
Well, I don't look at him as having played a bad game this evening so far. The Wild have scored 2 power play goals on him.
Yep.
And you remember how much trouble he had the first year with the Wild in getting wins. He'd play well, just would get in those 0-0 ties.
Couldn't get any offensive support at all. Just seemed to be snake bitten. Played in the minors last year and then sent over to Calgary. And he's been in Calgary most of the season. Little reconditioning stint at one time, but he's the backup. Roman Turek getting the night off. Played ahead again. No shots on that last power play again for Minnesota, so it's been feast or famine. Either a goal or no shots here tonight. Minnesota 2 for 6 with the man advantage. McKinley looking in front. Sabrikin trying to bump it in, and Manny Fernandez able to push it aside.
You got to love the way Iginla sees the ice. Even in a situation when it looks like he doesn't really have anything, he usually finds something. He did that in the first period on a nice feed. And watch this one. He'll go right to the front of the net with it, but he'll do it almost from behind the net. And right there, Sabrikin gets his stick out, gets a nice little shot. Fernandez had the short side covered, but still the ideas that you see guys like Iginla make and create out there are certainly impressive.
Face off inside the Minnesota zone. Chris Drury wins it cleanly. Commodore! Oh, that hit the side of the net. Commodore, a good low drive on Manny Fernandez. It was behind him but not in the net. Bouchard trying to stay with Commodore. Marshall. Chris Drury comes and takes it away. Drury, first player in NHL history to win the Hobey Baker and then the Calder Trophy as the Rookie of the Year in the NHL the following season. Here is Drury. Couple of cups in his days with Colorado. Shot behind the net. Always had a tendency for the clutch goal as well. Drury's had a 50-point season this year, but he's headed a different place in April than he's accustomed to. Behind the net, Montador will hold and wait. Played 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 3 minutes and 20 seconds now of this period. Dave Lowry. Lowry up ahead. Did Sloan touch it? No. But it looks as if the Flames will gain first. It's Stefan Yell, so there's no icing call. Shot again in through traffic by Montador. And the glove save made by Fernandez. Tonight's Treasure Island Resort and Casino trivia question. Always on cue is PK. Which player led 3 different NHL teams in scoring in 3 consecutive years? I'm going to guess Brendan Shanahan. I'm going to guess one of those years was Hartford, and I'd be absolutely wrong. It was Vincent Damphousse.
That's a good guess, though.
John Cannon, Eden Prairie knew that. Wild.com.
Look at this shot, and look at this save. Just as his defenseman gets out of the way, Fernandez picks that one up. Fernandez has been playing very well lately. As I said, he took that 1-0 loss the other day to St. Louis, but that's a game you win the way he played.
There's another face-off win. That might be a small concern, although it'll be a large concern in the mind of the head coach. But you're talking about small things. The way the Wild have not been able to win face-offs tonight. That's a little disappointing, I'm sure.
Well, you want to have possession of the puck, and the Wild are not necessarily a puck control team, but if you play against someone like Detroit, who is a puck control team, you don't want to give them the puck. And if you lose a lot of face-offs, it's exactly what you'll end up doing.
For Damphousse, I'm looking it up in the book, Mike. Toronto in 90-91, Edmonton in 91-92, and Montreal in 92-93 en route to a Stanley Cup. So you had to go way back a decade. A good job by John Cannon of Eden Prairie. He's heading out to Red Wing. Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
You remember there's a lot of these guys have been around forever now. After expansion, some of these guys extended their careers by 5-6 years.
Susan fakes and gives to Zoltok. Zoltok across. The shot is well over the net by Nick Schultz. Stefan Yell flips it up with a hand. And Sloan touched it first, so it's a hand pass, but Yell will be happy to take it. He was able to get the puck out of the zone without gloving it and taking a minor penalty.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wanted to do. You can go glove to stick in your own zone, but you cannot go between zones from the defensive to the neutral zone. And so Blake Sloan is the one who touched that. Look at Johnson. He is going to be a guy that when he does play in the playoffs, he's going to have to just be effective by hitting, by running, and becoming a nuisance in front of the net. Because there's not going to be a lot of fighting in the playoffs. At least there shouldn't be.
Can't afford to take the instigator.
No, you can't afford to lose too many players into that.
Although if you can get a Shanahan or somebody to fight, if you're their opponent, you know, you take one of their top scorers off for 5 minutes, and that's usually why you don't see the fighting. A Shanahan or a Kachuk to drop the gloves, 2 guys who aren't afraid to do so in the regular season. And Billy Guerin, another example. But they're so much more valuable on the ice, especially in the postseason. Pushed up but not out. Martin Jelena. Commodore just missed Conroy. 2-0 Minnesota leads. Wild coming off that thrilling overtime win against Chicago. And looking for playoff positioning, although that doesn't guarantee your opponent. But more importantly than that is Jacques Lemaire is stressed over the last week or so. Wants to see his team play more solidly. Be ready for the postseason. Commodore. Susan. It's Drury. Can't get the shot away. And Dowd has it. Dowd spins it around. Andrew Brunette. Leopold pinching in. But Brunette gets it out on the second effort.
What I like about tonight's game is that they came out strong early, Mike, and they've basically sustained that throughout the whole game. Although both their goals are on the power play, they played pretty solid 5-on-5 all evening long, which is not what they did against Chicago the other night. Gabrick
with a little room to work. Leaves it for Brunette. Brunette trying to slide it back to Gabrick. Good defensive play by Leopold. Jordan Leopold was there and he took the pass away. Leopold, 16 minutes and 18 seconds through 2 periods of play. Icing is called.
Susan come up and get the tripping call. He can't believe it, but it's fact.
Yep, it's in the books now. 5th power play for the Flames as they trail by a 2-0 score. Craig Conroy comes across the line. 28th ranked power play, 2nd worst record in the Western Conference for Calgary. Leopold getting his first power play time of the night with Bugner. We have basically seen Tony Lidman on that left point spot. Conroy looking in front. Iginla fighting for space. Lowry gets it to the point. Bugner to Leopold. Leopold down to Conroy's shot. And it's pushed aside off the shoulder of Manny Fernandez.
Hendrickson's hurting. He took a shot off the ankle and he still cannot get to the bench.
Going to be saved by a whistle as Hendrickson will now work his way.
He took a pretty solid one. I think it was off the ankle. The way he was limping around out there, and it was right at the top of the power play. You got to give him credit for moving around like he did. Here's the shot. Leopold will zip one right on the inside of the foot. Boy, that's smarts, but he stuck with it. He'll be able to shake that one off.
So the young Gopher against the not so young Gopher. Not so old, but not so young. And Darby Hendrickson taking it on the inside of the left ankle. 1 minute, 4 seconds remains in this power play opportunity for Calgary. Dowd on the penalty kill with Park. Walls and Dupuis out of the lineup, getting just a little bit of rest. They were both given the day off as well yesterday. And what a luxury. You know, no one ever thought, A, you'd see this team in the postseason. Well, few didn't believe it would happen. But then to be able to rest guys in the final week, what a bonus that is for Jacques Lemaire and the coaching staff.
Well, it's a bonus because Wes Walls, as you well know, has played against top lines all season long, so he's worn down. Plus, he might have a few bumps and bruises that he needs to take care of, as well as a guy like Pascal Dupuis. And so, yeah, it is a luxury, and you never know. You may see McCulp back. I don't know if you will, but it's a possibility.
They're talking about it. Iginla to Leopold. Leopold a shot, and the save by Fernandez. What would...
The world's largest factories imported gold sales.
Getting set for the last week prior to the playoffs, Jimmy Dowd of the Minnesota Wild.
Premier Gold Brands.
Just be consistent in all aspects of the game. Just we want to go in the playoffs on a positive note here. We got 4 games left. Just want to be working on all cylinders, get everybody going, and you know, be ready mentally.
Well, that's what Minnesota trying to accomplish here tonight. So far, so good. The mental part of the game has been there. Iginla has it. Iginla waiting and looking. Over to Tony Lidman. Shot deflected, blocked by Mitchell. Played by Schultz out of midair. Play's going to continue. Lowry was the next to touch. Schultz without a stick, handed off by the forward Loxonen. Bob Bugner, big drive. And it glanced off the pad of Fernandez and into the netting.
Well, it looked like once Loxonen gave his stick away, it left the left point open because Hendrickson could not get back. He was tangled up in the corner, and that left the point man for Bugner just a wide open shot to the net. I'm surprised he didn't step in a little bit. He had a lot of room there. Could have gone for a little skate and really teed one up.
Final 10 seconds of this man advantage situation. Jordan Leopold back to get it. So the Flames, with 2 shots that time, are 0 for 5 on the power play here tonight. Conroy to Leopold. And Leopold dumps it in. Sean Donovan pinching in on the forecheck. Donovan trying to stay with it on the near side boards. Dug it free to Conroy. Jelena trying to get the shot away. So Iginla not on right now. It's Donovan with the top line. Conroy and Martin Jelena. Brad Brown. Leopold trying to keep it in at the blue line. Bouncing puck, advanced, but not out. Yep, it was out. Jim Dow pushed it just far enough. Donovan pushes it back in. Offsides is called.
Well, Brad Brown put in a little bit of a defensive role on the penalty kill. As you take a look at Jim Dow, there's Brad Brown playing really physical down the stretch here. Good to see. Like we said, you got Bombardier out right now. And so you're using a lot of guys in that defensive role. You dropped Marshall back last game, moving guys in and out. We'll see if Bombardier comes back to the playoffs. That's another big question mark.
Well, the latest is not as good a news as what we heard earlier, but there's no certainty. Lidman the shot, save made. Actually, it's kind of the opposite of what you might have thought a month ago, is that McCult may be available, but Bombardier may not.
Well, the importance of defense in the playoffs. Get the puck up quick, help your goaltender out. They're all big things, and we'll see how they perform in the pressure situation.
And it's nice to have the versatility of Jason Marshall and the ability for him to play in either spot. Been in and out of the lineup here recently, had a pretty goal the other night. From the defensive spot, as Mike mentioned. Schultz, thank goodness for the Wild that he is developed here in year 2 in the fashion they had hoped he would after a very sluggish start. Valuable minutes here with Willie Mitchell, with Bombardier out for the past 5 weeks. Pushed out by Jason Marshall and gathered up by Mike Commodore. Just over 10 minutes remains. Ahead to Iginla. Iginla brings it into the zone. 52 goals last year for Jerome Iginla, the leading scorer in the National Hockey League with 96 points. He's 31 points below that so far this year. Given off to Kuba, shot into traffic. Deflected just wide by Johnson. He and Montador had a good battle in front. Then Johnson was dumped by Mike Commodore. Commodore better keep his head up here. Really pushed down by Commodore in front. Commodore almost as big as Matt Johnson, though. The icing is called and another stoppage in play.
Well, Matt Johnson doing what he does best, and that's crashing around the front, but he gets a little shot from Commodore there, but I don't know. Will we see something later on from those two?
Lidman, good forecheck by Brunette. Lidman on the second effort with a little help from Bugner, though, will get it out of the zone. Drury brings it into the Minnesota end of the ice. Chris Drury, Craig Conroy, and Martin Jelena. Bugner, here's Conroy. Conroy on the backhand. Drury stick handling all through the crease. Drury made the move behind Fernandez on the backhand. Puck went through the crease. Moved ahead to Stefan Yell. So Drury placed on that top line that time, Mike, as Iginla now on this second line. And it almost paid off for Calgary. Iginla here with Stefan Yell and Dave Lowry. Down goes Yell. Lowry bouncing puck. Iginla can't get to it. It's out of play.
Well, Calgary very much in this one. They've played very good as of late. Best month of March, or best month of the season for them in this month of March. They get the puck towards the net. Look at the puck bounce behind Fernandez, though. A good move here, and looks like it might have gone off the post there. Backhander in front. Fernandez down, and oh, it went under his arm.
Minnesota wins the draw. And Willie Mitchell will chase it down.
Yeah, they've played very well this month of March.
They certainly have. Both months of March were good. 8 wins for Minnesota in the month of March and 8 wins for Calgary. Oh, what this game could have meant if the early part of the season would have gone the way Calgary anticipated it would.
That's the frustrating part. They look back at November, they look back at February, and they say, wow, if we'd have played 500 in those months, we'd have been battling for the postseason as well.
I mean, they had only 6 wins through the first 2 months of the season and 18 points in the standings. After that, it was unfortunately almost a foregone conclusion. Bletz trying to put it in front. They're going to miss the playoffs for the 7th straight year in Calgary. Montador winds it around the near side. Kuba, Sean Donovan in pursuit. Donovan able to get to it first. Good hustle by Donovan. Donovan to the point, and Tony Lidman. Bouncing puck goes well wide of the net. Oleg Saprikin slides it through to Tony Lidman. Blair Betts. Donovan to Oleg Saprikin. Saprikin, Betts trying to cycle. Down goes Betts into the penalty box. He's going to visit a Wild player. Penalty indicated by Stephane Auger. Donovan comes in late on the play and steps into Brad Brown. Check out our Wells Fargo High School report. A little face washing continues to be done. Division I hockey signings. Chris Anderson is on his way to be a Husky. How about Ben Gordon? He's going to play for Minnesota in 04. Another Husky. And Nate Raddens, Matt Smaby, and Drew Stafford out of Shattuck St. Mary's on their way to the Fighting Sioux. Congratulations to those young men. Taking advantage of a decision. That's what Jordan Leopold did in his collegiate career.
Well, bottom of your screen here, right there on the play. That'll send Philippe Kuba to the box.
But you're about a minute away from doing play-by-play. Yeah, it's about gone tonight.
Oh, at 6:09, I'll give it a whirl.
All right, I'll put you up to it. I think you should. It's a 2-0 game. I think you should. Seriously.
I don't think I should.
No, seriously. My voice is gonna go.
Kuba of the Wild, 2 minutes stripping at 12:51.
You gotta get better attention from the doctors, don't you think? No, just saving it for the playoffs. See, now I'm gonna be in trouble. Here's Iginla. Comes across the line. Iginla waits and holds. Schultz steps right in. Jelena. And it's bumped up and out by Darby Hendrickson. Nice play to get it off the glass. 6th power play of the night for the Flames. They've had 9 shots on their 5 power plays. But Manny Fernandez has not allowed a goal so far in the game. Drury gets it across. Big drive into traffic. Puck was still free. Schultz will kick it aside. His stick being held in the feet of Martin Jelena.
Well, as they say, your best penalty killer is your goaltender, and Fernandez continues to make the big save.
Physical play down low, Bugner. Flip to the point, Drury fakes it. Iginla couldn't get a lot of wood on that one.
They're really trying to work that back door.
Here's Drury again. Drury trying to slide it through Down, and Down got a shin pad on it. That'll force the Flames to regroup. Drury trying to fight through traffic.
You try and figure out whether you want to pressure hard or not very much. Dowd decided to go hard at the point man there because he was bobbling the puck. And as you said, took it off the shin pad. So a good decision by him and Darby Henderson. Both were forcing the defenseman very hard on that play.
Well, the key, Mike, is to do one or the other, right? If you're going to make the decision, go hard. If not, then stay back, but don't get caught in no man's land.
If you're going to make a mistake, you might as well make it a real good one.
Better by aggression than omission. Commodore getting a little bit of power play time here. Final 10 seconds of the minor against Kuba for the trip that you saw. And Mike Commodore will bring it up. Never did put on a Ducks uniform, at least an Anaheim Ducks uniform. Had a Cincinnati Ducks uniform on. Lowry, 1 shot that time on the power play. So 10 shots on 6 power plays for Iginla and the Flames. So penalty killing a huge bonus tonight for Minnesota, 4th best in the NHL in penalty killing coming in, and basically for the last 6 to 8 weeks. 4:43 remains in regulation time.
What makes it so exciting are all the unknowns for the Minnesota Wild. Obviously have not been down the stretch knowing that they're going to the postseason. How they react is really going to be interesting. How they react in the postseason is going to be interesting as well.
Well, Bobby Bugner and Willie Mitchell revisiting things here tonight. Hey! She's just all fired up. Welcome back inside the XL Energy Center. 122nd consecutive regular season sellout here tonight against the Calgary Flames. Minnesota hoping to go 7-8, 4-1 in their division. One thing we do know, they are going to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. And they're trying to go in with a little momentum as Zoltak sends it right in to his own bench area, right towards Matt Johnson and Jeremy Stevenson, who's on the ice right now. Just a little correction and an update. The Hockey Lodge appearance, because of the Minnesota Wild practice schedule, has been changed to 12 to 1 this Saturday at the XL Energy Center. So do take note. It will be 12-1. The Blue Line Sports and Hockey Lodge appearance. Matt and Jeremy here to sign autographs and say some hellos. 4:05 remains. Park to Zoltar. Back towards Richard Park. He wanted it on the forehand. The puck bounced over his stick and Karam to the boards.
Looked very similar to that overtime goal he scored the other night, except this time it was bouncing.
Here's Iginla. Oh my, can he shoot the puck? He fired it wide though, up over the shoulder of Manny Fernandez, trying to pick that top corner. Jerome Iginla, Dave Lowry, and Chris Drury. Lowry parks himself in front of Manny Fernandez and Minnesota clears it out. Wild limited, Mike, to only 15 shots on goal, but opportunistic indeed they have been again this evening.
Well, that's one thing all season long. They've made the most of what they've had. They've made the most of what lineup they've had. They've made the most of the shots they've had. And truly, that's what's helped them get through this season. Iginla, nice shot there, but I think a good defensive play as the puck deflected up into the netting.
Brunette off the rebound from the shot off the point from Montador. Kicked aside by Fernandez, and Minnesota clears it to center. We see Dowd and Brunette and Gabrick again together here for a number of shifts tonight. Lowry, the former Flames captain and NHL veteran of well over 1,000 games. There's going to be a penalty on Mitchell. Stefan Yell goes down. McLennan goes to the bench, makes sure who the penalty is going to be called on. And the Flames are going to have another go at it. Going to be interference. Or holding, pardon me.
Yeah, the hold on looks like Billy Mitchell making his way to the box. And so we'll see if that penalty kill will hold up again. Right there, just a hold on the shirt. And that's, well, I grabbed his jersey, and that's why the call was made. So Mitchell trying to give himself leverage going into the boards. He ends up giving himself a 2-minute minor.
So Mitchell in the box, 7th power play of the night for Calgary. 10 shots so far with the man advantage. Jerome Iginla, he leads his team in power play scoring. Conroy to Bugner. Drury's at a point. Conroy has it, slides it in front. Zuzan will take, and Kuba will clear. Good play by Kuba to flip it out of the zone on the backhand. Giving over to Dave Lowry. Lowry on the near side. Iginla bounces it deep into the zone. Zuzan trying to give it a ride out. Lowry fighting for it, as are Iginla and Conroy. Pass towards the point, gloved and held by Drury. Advanced by Iginla to Conroy. Zuzan, he caught a stick. Zuzan goes down hard, he caught a stick. And so things are going to be evened up, and there's a continuous pushing and shoving going on. Iginla now and Nick Schultz.
Like he needed to catch another stick in the face. Zuzan's taken a beating up there this year and recently as well.
He's held together by stitches and Band-Aids already. Visit your nearby Polaris dealer for the Polaris Open House. Check out the High Performance Predator ATV, the new line of 2004 snowmobiles, and the Polaris Ranger. Enter to win great prizes, including a Polaris ATV, autographed Wild jersey, and more. Polaris, the way out.
Well, it didn't take any, not going to need any stitches for that one, but Conroy just lifts the stick up. Looks like he caught him on the left cheek there.
He wouldn't take any stitches the other night. Remember we said we thought there was a blown out stitch on his eye? He wouldn't take any stitches during the game, so they just threw the Band-Aid on.
Well, a lot of times
the continuous blood flow.
A lot of times they just put those strips on the cut just to keep it, because the guys don't want to get all poked up there by the doctor in the intermission.
Leopold. Zoltar on him, 4-on-4, 140 remains. Dwayne Rolison had the last shutout for Minnesota a couple of games ago against Detroit. Kuba circles in his own zone. Lubomir Sekarash. Drury. Sekarash able to clear it aside. 25 seconds left on the minor on Mitchell. Then Minnesota will finish this game with the man advantage. Just a second differential between the game clock and the penalty clock. In front of the net, Philippe Kuba. Under a minute remains here in regulation. Henriksen turned over. Henriksen locks it and scores! They force the turnover. Darby Henriksen gives it to Antti Laaksonen, and Minnesota leads 3-0.
Well, opportunist to the end. As they drive in, watch that play right there. The man on the puck, and then he'll go right back to the man who created that situation, which was Antti Laaksonen. Nice little backhand feed, and McLennan had to take the shooter.
And that's going to be a power play goal, Mike, because the other penalty had just ended. So 3 power play goals tonight for the Minnesota Wild. 3 power play goals for the first time since November 23rd of 2001 against the Phoenix Coyotes. Laaksonen from Henriksen, the 3rd power play goal of the night. 27.4 seconds now remain. Mike Commodore being pushed over towards the penalty box. Minnesota's finally going to get their regulation win against Calgary this year, Mike, and pretty much even up this regular season series. Nordstrom, proud partner of the Minnesota Wild, celebrating 10 years in the Mall of America. Nordstrom's going to present a nice gift certificate to our 2 guests tonight. One of them, young Pierre-Marc Bouchard, the other, Jason Marshall. Nordstrom's proud partner of the Minnesota Wild. Cliff Ronning is 16th of the year. Pierre-Marc Bouchard is 7th. Antti Laaksonen his 15th. All on the power play. They're going to go. Marshall. And a good one at that. Marshall's going to go with Robin Ray Gear. Marshall trying with the uppercuts. Trying to come over with the right now. Ray Gear trying to slam him down and get a few shots in the process.
They'll answer the bell. You gotta love that. They knew it was going to be a tough game, and you notice the lineup. Marshall, Stevenson, Johnson. They had plenty of guys that could answer the call. They're talking about it. Let's go. There you go. Hey, they only have 25 seconds left.
Yeah, another good go. This rough and tumble series. How about this guy? Not only did Antti Laaksonen score the 15th of his season, that power play goal, the first power play goal of Antti Laakssonen's career. And now Jeremy Stevenson is set to go. Stevenson and Montador. Oh my, Montador getting some big shots in on Stevenson early. This Montador's a tough kid. Stevenson trying to answer though, and he is. Oh my goodness.
That is a good answer.
Montador was really hacking away early.
You gotta love it to come back in a fight like that. Like I said, they're gonna answer the bell here.
They are on their feet here at the XL Energy Center. Marshall and Stevenson just sending some final messages to the Flames. And with the divisional games, Mike, moving from 5 to 6 next year, this is good that this rivalry continues to heat.
Well, yeah, they've all been pretty good this year. You know, it's been very physical against the Vancouver Canucks this year. It's been obviously physical up against Calgary. Edmonton's been pretty good as well. But boy, does Stevenson come back in this fight.
Who could fight next? Doesn't look like anybody. It's kind of like that Detroit-St. Louis game we saw, minus a Joey Koser, Joel Quenneville. Verbal barrage. Final seconds are going to tick away. And for the first time since February 10th against Philadelphia, Manny Fernandez pitches the shutout. Second shutout of the year for Manny, 8th of his career. 6th shutout of the year for the Minnesota Wild. Manny Fernandez will be our GMC player of the game.
He made all the big saves, made the little ones too, and he got good support. Did a great job on the penalty kill all evening long, helping his team shut them down in that category as well.
So Minnesota in the Western Conference standings jumps back into the 6th spot with a point against Anaheim now, a point ahead of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Anaheim was idle this evening. Edmonton tied this evening.
And now that game in hand is gone, Mike.
Yep, it's basically a race to the finish here as they both have 3 left. So, but like we said earlier, who knows whether 7th or 6th is better than each other? Who knows whether 8th is the best?
Well, the key is Jacques Lemaire talked about is just playing well.
Yeah.
And I think Minnesota had a pretty solid effort tonight. All 3 goals come with the power play. Darby Hendrickson setting up the last one to Antti Laaksonen in the first power play goal of his NHL career. We're back with much more of your Minnesota Wild here on Fox 9 in a moment. For the Minnesota Wild. So for Mike Greenlay, Mike Goldberg saying so long from the XL Energy Center. Fernandez with the shutout. Final score 3-0 home team. Be sure to join us Wednesday night as the Wild travel to Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. Puck drop is slated for 6 o'clock. Stay tuned. Fox 9 News is next. Minnesota is the 6th seed as of now.